Hey guys, today we'll be taking a look at the S.H.Monsterarts King Kong from King Kong vs. Godzilla. And before we take a look at this figure, if you want to have this figure in your collection, I know that the Big Bad Toy Store has some stock. Some local toy stores may have some stock. I know mine definitely only has 2 of them. And they should be some on eBay, of course, aftermarket price as always. And then there should be an Amazon page where you could buy the figure. Now, with that out of the way, I like to give this figure a cool and smooth 4.5 out of 5. It is a wonderful figure. We'll get into why it's not a full 5 later on in the review, but as a starter, I like to say that this is a beautiful sculpt, beautiful paint. You can just see the liveliness anytime he does a pose. I especially love this head, which shows so much character. We'll get into more of his accessories later, but for now, just looking at the base figure as it is, it's wonderful. You can see all the paint and all the shading, all the highlights in the fur. It's wonderful. If you can really see there, you can see the nice sculpted detail for the hair, especially on the hands and the arm. It's wonderful. There's some of that Kong butt, and it's just wonderful. Even the scars on the chest are painted wonderful. Now, of course, I don't think this figure suffers from paint chipping. At least I haven't heard of any incidents of paint chipping, since it is a much more pricier figure than, say, a Marvel Legend. I would still be very careful not to roughhouse it, although he can probably take a couple of hits, accidentally maybe fall from the shelf, or you're too hard removing an arm piece and maybe accidentally like scratch his arm with your nail. I don't think any severe paint chipping will come. Maybe some of the minor paint chippings that come with wear. I haven't heard of any QC issues, nothing like that, which I think is very good for a modern figure arts. It's a wonderful figure, truly wonderful figure. Now, let's get on to the accessories. Alright, Kong comes with several accessories, and I think they are all very nice and very character appropriate. For example, here we got some relax hands, which I think have, again, just more of that beautiful sculpting, just beautiful detail sculpting. I mean, just look at the pads and the fingers. It truly is wonderful. Other than his relax hands, Kong also comes with these alpha pose hands, as I like to call them, which are, the hands for when he's traversing around and he puts his knuckles on the ground, kind of as a base. I think it's really nice, and again, more of that beautiful sculpted detail. And other than that, Kong would also come with, of course, a pair of grabby hands, again with more of that beautiful sculpted detail. And what would he come with grabby hands for? Well, of course, if you've seen the movie, which I will say this could be a spoiler, although it's in all the promotion material, so I don't think it is, but he comes with this beautifully sculpted and painted axe, and I just think this encapsulates the axe from the movie perfectly. I mean, you can see the beautiful radiance of the spine glowing right there. It's just awesome. And the bone detail and painting, it's just immaculate. This is a beautiful piece, a beautiful accessory. And for its final accessory, Kong also comes with a nice, calm, more relaxed facial expression, although it still looks very stoic. I mean, you can just see more of that beautiful sculpted work in the face, and especially the eyes, which are just beautifully painted with that nice gloss. Now, looking at articulation for Kong is a beautiful figure, chock filled with not only accessories, but articulation. And I'll take his head off here so you could see what I mean. Kong is chock filled of these joints, these dumbbell joints, as I've heard people in the community call them, where it's basically a ball joint connected by a stem into another ball joint. And what that does, it gives not only 2 rotation points, but it gives much more range to an otherwise maybe just a singular ball joint motion. Now, if we start from the head, Kong, of course, has that ball joint that goes into his head, as you saw earlier, and it also goes down into his neck. And speaking of his neck, he also has another dumbbell joint which goes into the upper part of the neck, and then the last piece goes into the lower part of the neck. Now, here for the shoulders, it's more or less the same thing. Here there is a very nice swivel. There is a double joint here, as most figure arts have, although unlike the more humanoid figures, this is covered up. This is like a nicely sculpted cover up for the joint. It doesn't hinder the articulation, maybe a little bit, but I don't notice it. I don't think it's that bad. Maybe they'll start bringing this over to their more humanoid figures, and I think that'd be appreciated. Kong also has a nice another dumbbell joint here in the hand, which makes the hands popping off relatively easy, and it still keeps them really tight, because I know some figures, if you hold it, like if you switch out the parts too often, they'll wear down and they'll get more loose over time. But I don't think that'll happen for Kong for at least a while. Now here for the chest, he has another one of those dumbbell joints up here, and that leads in to this ab section. So this entire section here, that's like the upper part of the abs, that's a completely loose section that when I'm posing around, I usually have a lot of trouble trying to keep it in place. But I think I've gotten more of a hang with it, and it's not as big as the problem as it was in the beginning. Kong has another one of those joints here, which allows a very nice crunch. You could get him definitely on all fours, and that would also leave him to have a very nice arcing back, so he could definitely pull up some of those looking up poses. Now here for the legs, it's another dumbbell joint that attaches here at the crotch, and so he has a thigh swivel, another double bend here at the knee, kind of like he has up here at the arm, and then here for the foot, there is another dumbbell joint, and this section here, that's all a floating piece, kind of like the ab section up here. It is kind of annoying, but less annoying. And then he has that dumbbell joint, which allows a very nice bend forward, a okay bend back, a very nice pivot, and of course he has a very nice toe bend, which, as I just discovered from popping it off, is actually another ball joint, which I find is kind of a little weird. I feel like they could have just made that a hinge, but I understand they probably did that just so, it wouldn't break the sculpt, which I guess is appreciated. For my last and overall thoughts on Kong, I think Kong is a beautiful figure that would make a wonderful addition to any S.H.Monsterarts collector's collection. And even if you're like me, who is now starting to get more into kaiju, so you're gonna want to start collecting more of those S.H.Monsterarts figures, I think this is a great addition and a beautiful, perfect companion piece to go with your Godzilla. Overall, I think for my final score, it'll have to be like the beginning, and I'll give him a 4.5 out of 5 stars, just because of those little minor issues that I mentioned. So a lot of the floating pieces, and especially some of those really tight joints, for example, the toe that I kind of popped off during the review. But other than that, I think if you have the money, which isn't a lot, he is a little pricey for the size, but I think the range of posability and the accessories makes up for it. So if you have the money for it, I suggest you should buy Kong and add him to your collection today.